So, welcome everyone to today's special podcast episode. We are diving into a hot topic that's been on the minds of many entrepreneurs, and the topic sounds like food delivery or ride-hailing, which should be launched first in the super app package. And today's podcast is brought to you by Ondi and Playfood. Ondi is a taxi and ride-hailing software solution that has been on the market for over 12 years already, and has helped companies all over the world to launch their taxi businesses. If to be exact, 75 countries are covered by Ondi partners. And Playfood is a food delivery software solution that is a bit younger. We have been on the market for about 3 years right now, and but still we have already achieved impressive results. For example, we have partners in 18 countries around the world. So together, Ondi and Playfood create a super app solution that, as we have a deep technical integration between our software solutions. And just a few words about super app. This is software solution for entrepreneurs who would like to start their on-demand business, to enter on-demand market and offer multiple services to their customers. From taxi and parcel delivery that is covered by Ondi software, and food and grocery delivery that is covered by Playfood. And actually, our super app solution can help you to launch a delivery of pretty everything that can be placed on the marketplace, ordered by customer and delivered by courier. So our solution can be white labeled. That means that you can set your own branding like logo and color palettes, and it is scalable and stable to support your growth on every stage of your business evolution. I am Alex, Playfood Growth Marketing Manager, and today I will be your host and the one who asks questions and tries to dig down to get a proper understanding of which servers should be launched first, and to get some valuable insights from you guys, from our experts. And we have incredible panel of experts today who bring a wealth of real-world expertise and insight to these discussions. So please welcome Key Partners Manager at Playfood, Vera. Applause, please.
Hi, everyone.
Vera has 7 years of business expertise and 3 years of experience in launching food delivery projects in 18 countries. She has a strong expertise in unit economics and also in operational process. So, thank you, Vera, for being with us today. And
Thank you,
let's
Alex.
move forward. Let's meet Lizaveta, account manager from Ondi. Lizaveta has 5 years of experience boosting partners' growth with marketing tools, with data-driven decisions, with root cause detection, as well as 6 years of audition and financial analytics. So, Lizaveta, thank you for being with us today. Yes, and our special guest, co-founder and COO of Ride, a super app project combining ride-hailing and food delivery, Gedeon. Gedi, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us today. And just a few words about Ride business to get acquainted. Ride has been in Ethiopian market since 2014. And initially, Ride provided taxi booking service like manual and via SMS-based booking service. And then Ride upgraded to an app-based through the Ondi solution in 2017. And then Ride Food appeared on the Ethiopian market and with the Playfood solution last year. So right now, the app has 5-star rating on the App Store and over 1 million downloads on the Play Store. Yes, great success, great results. Thank you all for joining us today. And I think that the intro part has been quite comprehensive. So our listeners will have a good understanding of what is going on. And I'm stopping talking and let's start asking questions to you guys. And let's start from the brief dive into the steps of launching both verticals. And the first question will be to you, Vera. What should an entrepreneur do to launch a food delivery service, please?
Okay, thank you so much, Alex. First of all, I'm happy to be here today, and I think we're going to have quite interesting discussion. So I'm going to start answering this question a bit from afar. I think that my answer is going to be relevant not only for food delivery niche, but also for ride-hailing niche. But what I wanted to highlight, when new entrepreneurs just get the idea to start a food delivery market, it's really good to make two exercises or just two prep steps. The first one is to identify UVP, unique value proposition, and study the market, study the competitors. And the second step is to draft the business model. Sometimes we have cases where our partners come to us and they are not really sure what they're going to offer or what kind of values their project is going to bring to the table. And I think that just when this first idea pop up in your mind, okay, I want to start the food delivery business, it's really crucial to go and research what kind of competitors you already have on the market, what do they offer, what are their strong and weak points, what kind of pains the customers have about these competitors, what customers like, what customers hate about them, and all these things will help you to identify the gap on the market where you can fit. And after that, it's good to think about the high-level plan of your business model, just to identify what will be your income sources, like how you're going to make money, how much you're going to charge your vendors, your couriers, your customers, and then what will be your costs, what will be your expenses. Of course, it might be overwhelming to predict and calculate precisely how much you'll be spending, because especially if it's the first time you launch in the business, some unexpected things may arise and you might not be aware of all of the particular details, but still you need to create this draft, and you need to calculate the unit economy, which we are going to discuss a bit later. But it's crucial steps before you actually, for example, go to us and we start working together with you on getting the software and then actually making this software customized for you and then launching your apps. So yeah, these two steps I would personally advise all of the entrepreneurs to complete. In terms of just launching the food delivery business, I mean, there's always a tech launch and then business launch. From tech perspective, we, Playfood team, will just provide the software. We will make sure that the applications are up and running, they're published, they're white labeled. And of course, we're going to help with all of the onboarding into the platform, with the setup. But then there's also business launch. And from business launch, in order to start, you need to actually make agreements with the vendors. There's also a way how you can start without making agreements with vendors, but maybe it's going to be a topic of another discussion, or we were actually talking about it quite a lot in our webinars. So you will need to contract with vendors, restaurants or stores that you're going to have in your marketplace. And you also will need to recruit the couriers, and of course onboard both vendors and couriers, teach them how to use the applications. Next, you need to get the person, at least one person who's going to act as call center operator, the person who's going to address customers' questions, vendors' questions, just who's going to provide the support. And you definitely need to think about marketing campaigns that you're going to launch once you actually go live. And it's also good to have the project manager, the person who is going to help you to implement the project, who is going to oversee all of the day-to-day tasks. Yeah, so I would say these are the main steps. My point was that it may sound like a lot of steps, to consider, a lot of steps to take, but we do have examples where our partners were launching within like month and a half or 2 months. So if we're talking about launch on a smaller scale, in this case, even though there is quite a number of steps, they can be all completed at a quite short period of time. Of course, you may want to start like, on a big scale. I want to have 50 plus vendors or 100 plus vendors. I want to have 100 couriers. Yeah, it's great, but in this case, the launch itself may drag and it may take just a month to actually go live. So we usually advise to start on a smaller scale, to launch quicker, to start making first orders, first money, to start testing your operations in live, and if needed, improve them, update them based on the customer experience. And yeah, so to kind of make a quick summary of what I said, because it's been quite a lot, you need to identify your UVP business model, get the software from Playfood, and then launch the technical part with our help, get the vendors, get the couriers, get one call center operator, onboard all of these parties, think about marketing campaigns, can be paid marketing, can be more budget-friendly marketing, and then launch.
Amazing. Thank you, Vera. I believe that it's quite a comprehensive answer for this question. And while I'm trying to find out what has happened to Gedi, I believe that network stopped and he's reconnecting now. So I think that we can move forward to the next question to Lizaveta. And I don't think that there will be something new for Gedi right now. So let's just wait for him. So, Lizaveta, what should an entrepreneur do to launch a ride-hailing business with the Ondi solution? Please.
Thank you. First of all, Vera, thanks a lot for outlining the basics for any start of the business, because indeed, whenever any entrepreneur is coming to the market, the first thing that the person needs to do is make a proper marketing analysis to understand the competitors, to understand what the offer would be about, what is actually lacking for the drivers, for the passengers, so that all sides would be happy. There would be some niche that the business owner needs to see. After that, the operations model as well is important. And here I would say that on a wider perspective, the entrepreneurs may wish to go for manual operations. This is still an option, not one of the most popular ones in the digitalized world, but still an option. The entrepreneurs may prefer to build some custom development solution that would definitely take a long time and lots of efforts, financial and all other efforts, or that they would wish to go with the platform like Ondi, for example, where most of the functionalities are already catered for. It's much less expensive and more straightforward, and especially faster for the start for the new business. Once the model is taken care of, I would think about the playing around with the system. I really love when the partners go to demo, they play around, they try to understand which way the flows are working, which way they are not working, why, how, because when you're on demo, you are not afraid of making any mistakes. You are free to text questions to the account manager, to support. The partners would be helped, and this way the entrepreneurs may figure out which way it's better to shape the processes in the company. And here it's also important to understand which way the order flow would take place in the company. For example, the entrepreneur may prefer to use only the passenger app so that the orders would be only through the passenger app. Or if the company wishes, they may add some operators, and the users will be able to actually call to order a taxi. Those are different flows. This is possible for them to be together, but some companies may prefer to have only passenger app orders, for example. So you need to understand which type is yours. And once all of that is done, you can move to the standard checklist, I would say, that all our partners are going through, is adding of the drivers, and here it's either the attraction of the drivers or the addition of the drivers that the entrepreneurs already have. Maybe they have some driver fleets, and there is no necessity to make any marketing campaign or search for additional drivers. So the additional of the drivers, the catering for the cars, for them to be there, for the entrepreneurs need to take care of the driver plans. Here we come to the marketing analysis, where we already figured out what is the best option for the driver. So everything needs to be reflected in the driver plan. Then the business owner needs to understand what service types they are ready to provide. Yet again, at the very first stage when the analysis is done, the niche needs to be found, or at least if it's not a particular niche that nobody has taken yet, at least it's something that is necessary on the market. So the service types, there may be some standard ones like economy or classic, or there may be some VIP services that are needed at this particular location, or maybe some pets, transportation, something of that sort. So these service types need to be added. Later on, the operators need to be added if the business owner decided to go for the operator type of business. And here those can be in-house operators, or maybe the operators that are working at the hotels if the business owner wants to partner with some hotels and provide some third-party access for the guests of the hotels to have some wonderful experiences of ordering the taxi through the receptionist in the hotel. So all of that are variants. So if you need the operators, you need to add the operators. Later on, we are ready to move to attraction of the users. And unfortunately, it's not working like that you put an app on the store and suddenly you have lots of users. You need to do something for the users to actually be willing to come to you and get your service. So marketing and marketing again, and exclamation mark marketing, because without marketing, unfortunately, very few things may be achieved, or at least the word of mouth or some partnering with influencers or whatever that fits for you. But you need to take care of the attraction of the audience, because if you have a list of drivers and the drivers need work and you don't provide the work, so there are no users, no passengers for the drivers, then the drivers are not interested in your service. So the last point, when the drivers are there, the operators are there, everybody's ready to take the passengers also need to be there. And as the last step here, since I'm the analyst, I have some analytics background, I like the moment about analyzing all of that. So when you feel that everything is already set up, it's better to keep an eye on the data, on all the statistics that is available, because it's important not to miss any red flags. If you check the data, you do the analysis of what is already happening in your business, you may see that something is missing, or why the cancellation rate is increasing, or maybe why the passengers do not really want to use this service type. Is it too expensive? Or maybe the drivers are not coming to these particular locations even though the passengers are willing to take trips from this location. So all of that things need to be analyzed, and by the way, Onde has a wonderful possibility for that, because we have many reports, we have in-house data analysts, so data-driven decisions is our thing, and I highly recommend all the new partners, the old partners, to be diving into the data. And briefly, that's it, I would say.
Thank you, Elizaveta. That's quite a comprehensive answer. And I am personally very delighted that while you were talking, all of us, Vera and Gedi and myself, we are sitting and like waving, in agreeing. Yes, you are right. Completely agree with what you are talking about. So, Gedi, I would like to ask you the next question, because the evolution of your business was gradual, from like manual operations to the software operation, from taxi service to food delivery service. And were these steps that Elizaveta and Vera were talking about the same for you, for your business? And what was the most difficult part in launching like both verticals?
So I have worked with Lisa and now Vera for a very long time, and I felt like they were both speaking my mind, because we go back and forth a lot, and they understand our business very deeply, and all the things they pressed is right spot on. The only thing I want to add is this business is different from market to market. even if we have experience of manual and digital for the past 10 years, when we get into a new market, we tasted one new market 2 years ago. That's Djibouti, a nearby country. It's a different market, it's a different challenge, it's a different everything, right? So there is no one cut out business plan or system, that fulfills all markets. Our market, unfortunately, is not a developed market, or we were the first one in the market. We're the emerging ones in the market. So the challenges that we went through might not be the same as you going to a market that already established, hailing business or food delivery business. But one thing that I advise everybody to follow is when you select a system, you're also selecting your workflow, how you operate. And it's not easy, by the way. Sometimes there are things that you have to run into a wall to understand, some way of operating is the right way or not. But having established system like Ondi or Playfoot helps you or guides you to the standard that that everybody in that system is operating and is successful operating, right? So you have to understand that you're not only choosing a system, you're also choosing the workflows that you're following, the manuals and the operational procedures you're following, the teams that you're hiring, the additional maybe softwares that you're using to support the business, right? So this is one thing that everybody has to keep in mind. So in our case, since the market is underdeveloped and there aren't digital currencies and digital money appeared in the system maybe 2-3 years ago, and this is new to digitization is not that deep compared to other countries. So having that challenge in mind, I would prefer that in my domain where things are not developed well, starting with hailing is the best option. We found it the best option because one of the challenges we found in food, even right now, is if there is no payment method in the country and there is no payment integration with on the food side, basically you will run into many customers who order, but then after the food is made, they will cancel it, right? So you have to choose conservative way of doing things, and we chose not to use cash because it's going to be hustle, reimbursing that money when the food is ordered, but the customer cancels it. So this is one of the things. And the second one is, we were laughing with our partners at Playfoot. Some customary business practices in developed countries, like giving coupon in restaurant, and restaurant having KPI, where they produce the food in a timely manner and fulfilling orders in a timely manner. That's not existent in our domain. So the approach that we took is first sampling the operation using dropship model, right? When we do dropship model, we already have established drivers who know, how to take customer from A to B. So we use them so that they accept the order, they process the food from the restaurant and take it to the customer. So through that process, we started understanding, which areas of the city, want to order, and we did surveys, as to the temperature of the food, the speed and the price and the technology, this and that. So we made it a learning opportunity for us using the existing hailing business that we already have. The hailing business was not difficult for us technically or operationally. It was very challenging, penetrating through the market in a legal way, right? When we got into the first maybe 2-3 years, we've been 4 years actually, we've been fighting with governmental offices establishing the business. Same thing that you heard Uber running through everywhere, it was the same thing for us here. So luckily we were ambitious, and there were people assisting us, and we made it through, and now we are settling to understand the business side of it, and understanding how we can structure the company in a way that is durable. So it depends from market to market, but what I advise people to follow is these two entities, the Playfoot and Ondi. They have very good experience understanding the business, understanding the data side of it. Sometimes I hear drivers saying, you are sitting in the office and you don't understand what we go through, right? And I tell them, listen, even better, not me, people who are in another country understand how you're running your business over there, right?
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I believe that this part of conversation is already like a treasure. It will be so helpful for lots of our future partners, super app partners to launch their business. But let's not lose the speed of the conversation. And Vera, I have another question for you. Can you tell us more about the key challenges and opportunities you've observed when launching food delivery services in different countries?
So actually, I want to second get a statement here that the challenges, they're going to be different from market to market. The challenges that may occur on the developed markets, they're going to be definitely different from the challenges that may occur on the developing markets. Overall, of course, there are it's possible to outline the group of challenges that are going to be kind of universal to plus minus all of the markets. I'm just going to kind of mention some of them. I'm not going to go into the very deep details, but what we observe at the moment is, well, first of all, legal challenges. What Getty mentioned that they had hard time of fighting with the government and penetrating actually the market. We observe now, for example, on Middle Eastern markets that the food delivery domain is getting more and more regulated by the government. And on one hand, they pursue this noble goal of making this niche more regularized and more, let's say, quality oriented. Like they want the couriers to provide better qualities, but if it is that it definitely creates more obstacles for our partners. For example, there are countries where courier can work only for one company. Courier can't be a freelancer. Courier can't work for multiple businesses. Hence, courier is going to earn less money, or the company who's providing food delivery business needs to increase the salary of the courier and the rates of the courier to ensure that they see the sense on working for them, and it leads to increasing prices for the customers. Another part of legal challenges can be just getting those licenses that are required in some countries for food delivery business, which can be also quite it creates some extra unnecessary steps that extend the launch of the project. Another set of challenges that can be what Getty mentioned already, the payment systems issue. For example, if we speak about the African countries, there are so many different payment gateways that exist there. And sometimes the lack of those centralized payment system that could be available in multiple countries, it creates some obstacles. First of all, obstacles in integrating all of those numerous payment gateways, but also for the partner, the obstacles of not having the payment gateway in question on our platform. So we have to think about some workarounds. We have to find the alternative way of work. And definitely, if we are going to talk about launching in different countries, for example, let's say maybe we have partners who want to launch in different markets, cultural peculiarities must be taken into consideration. I mean, there can be just cases where, let's say, in a particular country, people, they tend to have communal dining habits. They prefer to cook at home within their community, within their family. For them, that's like a cultural norm. That's the bonding thing. They do not really want to order online because, again, they are cooking within the family. That's the norm for them. Plus, there can be also some trust issues towards the food purchased outside of their home, towards the food that is cooked outside of their home. Or, for example, when we're talking about the businesses that are already launched, and let's say it's Middle East, we can remember about Ramadan that has some particular restrictions on eating during the day hours, and definitely it's going to influence the number of orders that the business is going to have during the time. So there can be some spikes and overall the decrease in the number of orders. So this type of challenge may also arise. And then another example is, for example, urban challenges. like different cities, different countries, they have different urban landscape, different terrain, different urban planning. So in one country, it's actually possible to deliver with very convenient means of transport, like motorbikes or bicycles. But in other countries, there are winters and snow and actually quite severe weather conditions during the winter time. So it's not possible to use motorbikes, and hence to decrease the price on the deliveries. The couriers, the drivers, they have to use cars, which definitely increases the delivery cost for customers and for couriers as well. So yeah, I would say that these groups of challenges, like legal, cultural, urban challenges, they play quite important role in launching the project, in planning the project, in developing the strategy. But what I want to also mention here is that whenever you see this challenge made related to some, I don't know, again, payment gateways or some particular cultural practices, there is always a workaround. And it's just a matter of your thinking, it's a matter of creativity and ability to think outside of the box, and also ability to find the partner who is going to help you with their experience, with their knowledge, and also with the data that they're gathering to find out the solution. So we think that those challenges, they can be worked out, and there's always a way to find a workaround. If the solid workaround cannot be found immediately, at least there is a temporary solution that can be used. So yeah, just from my experience, do not be discouraged by the challenges that you may face when launching the food delivery project. Yeah, it's a complicated project. It's more complex than taxi business because there are more parties involved. But we together will be we will be able to work around everything. So yeah, I was focusing quite a lot on challenges, but if we speak about opportunities, I've actually ran through some articles these days just to kind of get some data on the idea that we that we try to communicate to our partners. And the main opportunity is related to the fact that this food delivering process becomes the habit and well-established behavior. It becomes the part of daily life of people. In the developed markets, it's already just some default thing. It's as common as, for example, topping up your mobile balance through the mobile banking rather than going to the physical office of the mobile operator and then topping it up there. So in the developing markets, this process gradually becomes also part of daily life. Yeah, it may take longer to establish it as the some habitual thing, but gradually we are going to get there. So people are always going to be hungry. People will be ordering online. And what I discovered recently is that basically right now, this food delivery thing, this is the trend among millennials, among Gen Z. So just imagine 59% of millennial orders within restaurants. I'm talking about all orders like dining in, delivery, takeaway. 59% of interactions of millennials with the restaurants, they are deliveries or takeaway deliveries, right? So the majority of interactions, they are not dining in, but actually getting the food delivered at home or in the office. Gen Z are also crazy about this this trend. They love delivering food online. Both millennials and Gen Zs, they love the idea of comfort and convenience. And it's not only about actually Gen Z and millennials. In general, this is one of the main motivation of people who are ordering food online. The McKinsey studies back it up. In 2021, they ran a study, and 56% of respondents highlighted that convenience is the main motivation for them to order things online. So it's again, the technologies are getting so integrated, deeply integrated in our lives, that eventually when millennials and Gen Z, they're going to become adults, they will have newer generations coming. So for newer generations, this food delivery process will become, again, as normal, as usual as for us right now, for example, to communicate in the messengers rather than do the phone calls. So yeah, the main opportunity is that food delivery is becoming the default behavioral pattern. Hence, the demand will stay there. And gradually, another opportunity is that this habitual action is not only related to ordering food from restaurants, but it's also started gradually related to ordering groceries, ordering some, I don't know, like basic items that people need from time to time, for example, pharmacies. And that's where we see the main benefit of this niche is that the demand is not going to disappear. It will stay with the people. You may want to diversify your offerings. You may want to offer a wider range of deliveries, like not only food, but also groceries, but also pharmacies. But yeah, so I believe that's what I wanted to share.
Thank you, and thank you for such interesting facts and the statistics that you found for this conversation. Very interesting, actually. I heard it for the first time, so that's something new for me also. And now, while Yedi is reconnecting, I would like to ask Elizaveta about her background and background in the in supporting partners groups in the ride-hailing industry, and what are the critical factors that determine the success of a ride-hailing company and ride-hailing business.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, Vera, I adore any statistics, so any piece of the analysis is just as a piece of cake for me. I'm like, okay, something interesting is coming, and I totally agree that everything is getting so much digitalized that the same way we are talking in the messengers, the same way we are ordering a taxi or ordering some food, because it's just convenient. And for some locations, if especially talking about ride-hailing, if there is no proper transportation in the location and the partner who is coming to the market providing decent service for decent money in terms of transportation, it may be just a boom, because this is safe, this is fast, this is understandable and available from anybody's phone, because as you know, the apps are on Android, iOS, and all the stores, so it's easy to order the car. So coming to the question about the what was it? The critical factors. The first critical factor I wanted to note, and this may sound lyrical, but still I want to stress out. This is the readiness of the partners to invest lots of efforts into the business, because the business is fast-paced and you cannot delay some tasks. Plus, there are several parties that are involved. Those are the passengers and the drivers and the operators and the analytics side and any trainings and I know the payment gateways and some customizations. And sometimes the partners may feel that they are overwhelmed with the amount of things they need to consider, especially if they are new in the industry. It's kind of very complicated to get focused, and they may be afraid that, oh my gosh, while I'm working with the drivers, I may be missing something with the passengers, or maybe there is something going on with the payment gateway that I do not understand, and suddenly there is like some transaction cost that I wasn't really aware of. So it may sound too much, but if you have some logic and you have the readiness, as I say, to invest the efforts, and especially if there is a possibility to delegate some of the tasks to the people who are ready to help you, either it's the people from your family if it's a family business, or maybe you are already ready to hire some employees, it would be great. Because if you have a team and you have the understanding that, okay, I don't have to worry that there is some request from some passenger that is not being answered right now, because you know that you have a support specialist who is specially hired for the job. Or you won't have to worry about the marketing campaign, that you would have to analyze whether you selected the right platform for your marketing and you're not losing the money if you have the marketing agency who is doing that analysis for you and will be able to tell you that hey, something is not right, maybe let's move to another platform. We see that I know Google is working better for you than Facebook, why not changing it, etc., etc. So there is a huge list of tasks, and unfortunately all of those need to be run in parallel. And if there is a possibility, it would be good to have some people helping you, or on the contrary, you need to be ready to really invest much efforts, especially from the very beginning when you're setting everything up. The second point is, I would say, the budget for the marketing still, because as I said, you cannot just put the app in the store and think that the users will find the app themselves. So you need to make an effort here as well. You need to have some budget, and usually the more money you invest into the marketing, the more outcome you have, especially if you analyzed your market, you understand what is working better for you, you chose the platforms for you, etc. So marketing is key here, and I cannot recall some easy cases of launch without marketing. So there may be some rare cases when indeed there was no transportation in the region and the word of mouth worked so well for the location that suddenly the company became popular. But in most of the cases, especially if you have competition, you need to do the proper marketing. So you need to be ready to invest your efforts, like physical ones, and your financial efforts into that. Another thing is the niche, as I said. So after you've done all the analysis, you need to understand that the service that you're offering is good for all the parties. So the drivers earn well, they are happy with what they get. The passengers are also happy that the price is not too expensive, or at least meeting their expectation, that they are ready to try it out. And the quality of the service needs to be good. And here I'm very happy that Getty noted it, that they are providing trainings for the drivers, because this is super important. And it may sound that the drivers already understand the logic of the app, or maybe that it's straightforward and you do not really need to invest much effort into some education. No, trust me, you need. Because there will always be something that needs to be polished. It may be the technicalities, because not everybody is familiar with the apps, depending on the location. Yet again, for some drivers, it may be some kind of a new technology that they're getting acquainted with. For another drivers, it may be just the standard of your service. So, of course, for example, if you are if you decided to deliver some VIP service, you need to deliver the values to the drivers first. What exactly of the VIP service, that depends on them. Surely the car needs to be clean, or maybe the driver needs to be dressed in a proper way, or maybe there are certain codes that need to be stick to in terms of communication with the passenger, and so on and so forth. So all of that needs to be delivered in a clear, transparent way to the drivers, for the drivers to actually understand that, okay, the level of the service is this, I need to do this and that, from the technical side, all of these things, and the drivers actually know what they are doing. And needless to say that if the quality of the service is good and the price is also good, the passengers would also be interested in that. And the last point that I wanted to mention is, I wouldn't say that it's a necessity that your business won't function without it. It will, but I know that it will function much better if you take into account this point. And the point is this personalized approach. I really like it, especially since we are in this digitalized world. It's always pleasant for the passengers to know that if they have any issues, they may text support, the support agent will take care of the issue, that the passenger will either get a refund, or maybe the situation that the passenger had in the car would be looked into, which also creates some safety and good feeling for the company, that the company caters for the comfort of the users. It's not like the robot type of a relationship that I clicked the button, the taxi came, and that's it. No, that there is actually somebody who is ready to listen for the feedback. And the same feeling would be good to have with the drivers. So when the drivers feel that there is a community, that if something happens with the driver's car, for example, or that the company understands that the drivers actually want to make a decent living, and the company caters for the income of the drivers, in times of turbulence, the drivers would tend to select the company that catered for them all that time. So if the drivers understand that, okay, maybe some other competitor that came to the market is offering lower prices, not lower prices, higher incomes for the drivers now, but okay, who knows, maybe in 3 months they won't be offering that. And I know that particular company that I've been working for several years, or maybe months, they helped me when I know I had the issue with my car, or they catered for me when I said that I cannot be working on that conditions, and we discussed some better options, or some motivation was put into place that if the driver stays that amount of time online, or takes that amount of orders, or anything else that the company would like to put as the motivation for the driver would actually feel that, okay, I did my work, I get praised for that, I got what I expected, everything was straightforward, I was listened to, why should I change it? Because like in 3 months or some months the situation will change, and nobody will need me at this new company, but I have my community that I want to stick to. So all these personalized things are working fine, especially when the competition and the tough competition is on the market. So I would like to recommend not to forget about it. And I guess that's briefly it.
Thank you, Elizaveta. That was amazing answer, very insightful for me and for all the listeners. And my personal gratitude right now goes to Gedi, who is fighting with bad internet connection, and he is back with us. And the next question goes to Gedi. I would like to ask you about like main mistakes. Could you remember like top 3 or top 5 main mistakes in the operation, maybe in launching both verticals? What would you do different from this point right now, looking back on all your business experience?
Yeah, everything in what we do is a learning curve. You know, I'm young and I'm learning too, and my partner is also learning too, right? But one skill that right now, sitting back and thinking about it, one skill that I should have worked earlier is people management and acquiring talent, because especially in our market, like I mentioned earlier, there might be so many holes to fill in the digitization process. But that hole started creating opportunity for us. For example, food. We are not the first entrant in the market for food. There were priorly maybe 4 companies that started and failed in Ethiopia. So that is because their idea was magnificent, but they started up earlier, before internet was well established, where before payment gateway established, and before even the country understood digital life is a life that makes life easy, right? So even if we're not the first one right now, we are acquiring good talent that penetrates into the market and that understands how to run the business on our behalf within our company. So understanding that is one of the things that I always envy. I should have started earlier and I should have pushed forward. But one thing that I can tell you is all challenges are opportunities to solve and grow. Because at some point your company, you might be the best hailing and the number one hailing in the market. If you don't diversify, if you don't have multiple income streams, basically what's going to happen is somebody with big money will come in and pour it in until you drain out, and then they will replace you easily, right? So This is one of the things that we learned later, but it's not too late for us, and we are really catching up right now. If you diversify early on, in a manageable way, with with the talent that you acquire, you will definitely learn how to manipulate in the market and cope up with any competition that you might encounter moving forward. And one thing that Lisa hit perfectly is your driver, or the driver is your partner, but you're not married to that driver, right? It's all about opportunity. He comes to you, and when he wants to, if you give him work, if you keep on giving them work, they'll stick with you, right? But if you don't have work, obviously, PD Face is not going to pay his rent or his gas price, right? So you always have to focus on generating, that customer on the other side. So this is one of the mistakes that I admit, that in the early on we did not strongly work on the customer side. We worked strongly on the driver side. It should have been maybe balanced, or maybe we should have worked more on the customer side. Because customer is what pays both of us, right? We're partners and we're service givers, and it's the customer that pays both of us. So focus on the customer. Of course, the driver is also your customer, but you have to understand that the money comes from the customer side, or the passenger side, or the food ordering person. So always focus on that and push forward. So I think I have mentioned three of them. Maybe one of them that I can add up is, don't block ideas as you move forward, right? For example, payment option was not in existent, and food delivery had challenge because of payment option or gateway, right? We are developing our own gateway now, because that's a challenge we're solving, and we started developing that. We started building teams to develop that. We started understanding the banking infrastructure, technological infrastructure, and now that started becoming prospect on the other side, and it attracted investors, it attracted this and that, right? So that's one of the growth channels that we found. Cars within our system, they are old. They are like 40%, 50% of our the cars, the fleets that we have, are above 20 years old, right? So now it became opportunity for us to sell cars, right? And we sell the cars to the drivers, and the drivers are going to join and work with us, right? So this is another vertical that we started seeing opportunity, and this is what we're pushing forward, right? So any challenge that you have, any tree starts with one seed. So plant that seed. Don't do everything yourself, right? It's not easy to build what Ondi built, because I have gone up and down the drain so multiple times, right? You have no idea when you're entertaining tens of thousands of trips and it is disconnected for 5 minutes, right? That's the worst position that you want to be in, because within that 5 minutes, hundreds of customers are complaining on the other side, and imagine absorbing that, right? So it's not easy scaling up and building it yourself. So give it to the experts and work with them and start growing piece by piece. You be that person where you put the dominoes on. I mean what do you call it? That cubes, right? That you mount together, right? So be that person, and whatever you think you can do it yourself. We have development team that is working with Ondi and that is working with Playfoot to integrate some part of the things that we do and go bigger, right? But if you don't go bigger, sooner or later you'll fade out, because somebody on the other side, once you prove the market, they will come and eat your lunch. So you have to prepare yourself. You have to work with experts. You have to keep on building, and you have to see every challenge that you have into opportunity, and recruit the best talent that you have to make sure that you keep pushing forward. So this is my advice.
Thank you very much. It is so inspiring. I believe that we are coming to the last round of the questions. I have just one question for each of you, and let's start this round from Vera. Vera, let's talk about your strength side, about unit economics. How do the unit economics of food delivery compare to ride hailing, and how this impact their decision on from which vertical to start?
Great question. I think that everyone will agree with me that unit economy of food delivery is more complex than ride hailing. Simply because in the food delivery we have three parties involved, like instead of two parties in ride hailing. So in ride hailing we need to kind of juggle with the numbers of drivers and customers. But in food delivery, we have to juggle with the numbers of vendors, customers, and drivers. And we kind of have to balance between satisfying all of those parties, providing them with favorable conditions, yet retaining something for ourselves. I mean, like for partners, and earning profit that will satisfy partner side as well. So it's not the easiest task to kind of come to this point where, we are earning a lot and customers are paying a lot without any issues. So there is a lot to balance in the unit economy of food delivery. And also another maybe difference that we observed, and again, like it stems from the fact that just in food deliveries we have more variables involved than in ride hailing. So in food deliveries there can be so many options and variations of how exactly you're going to build your contractual relationship with the party involved. What I mean, if we just take vendors, right? So there is kind of a classical model of food delivery unit economy. The classical model means that you are charging the percentage from vendor, customer pays particular delivery fee, and then you pay the courier reward for the completed delivery. So that's the classical model. But at the moment, we see that the classical unit economy model may not work already that well, and it requires some modifications. And what kind of modifications can happen? For example, some of our partners, they charge not percentage from the order from vendor, they charge flat rate fee. Or they charge flat rate fee plus the annual subscription. Or they charge from vendors monthly subscription, and also they charge, for example, smaller percentage. On top of that, they start charging the customers service fee. Service fee is like additional charge for, again, maintaining the apps, and then they are sending like this money, they're distributing this money to cover, for example, payment gateway charges. With vendors, sometimes we see the cases when partners want to charge not commission per order, but they're just charging only monthly subscription, or they're charging monthly subscription based on the volume of orders. So you see, there are so many different ways, different approaches how you can charge your vendors. And right now I was talking primarily about the vendors. On top of that, you can offer your vendors some extra services. You can offer them, premium listing or just premium promotion within the application, and you can charge for that. But from the courier side of things, you also need to decide like what you're going to do. Are you going to charge your couriers, are you going to charge them monthly subscription, some share per order, or you're not going to charge them anything? You're going vice versa to subsidize their deliveries, because maybe for customers the delivery fee will be smaller. And it's not going to cover the actual courier rewards, because you want to attract more customers. You want your customers to order from you. You don't want your customers to be scared by your prices that are sometimes quite low when we have bigger players on the market. So yeah, the unit economy is quite complex, I would say. But again, we at Playfood, we have our own ways how to approach this question. We do help our partners to calculate and to come up with the initial unit economy, with the initial business model that we are going to test. Good thing is that it doesn't mean that you need to come up with the unit economy model right from the start and then you're going to stick to it, I don't know, for years. Of course, no. So you just need to figure out something that you're going to start with, that you're going to test, and then based on the results And for that, again, we do have the tools that allow to analyze the data of your orders, that allow to analyze the profitability and figure out how can we adjust the pricing, the delivery prices for the customers. So how we can adjust our model so that, for example, the profitability can be increased. So yeah, long story short, there are so many different ways on how you can charge your parties. Which particular way you're going to choose is going to also depend on what kind of practices your market already have, what kind of charges your competitors have, how much do they charge from vendors, how much do they charge from customers, what are current models used by the competitors. Based on that, you can offer a completely alternative model. For example, charging the subscription based on the amount of orders done by the vendor. It can sound quite refreshing after when all of the competitors are just offering the commission per order. And yeah, so you need to know how your competitors charge to figure out more favorable offer. And then, of course, you can have the situation where initially you're going to offer to your vendors, to your customers, lower fees, lower charges, because you want to gather the audience, you want to gather the trust, you want to build the loyal audience of the customers, or you just want to attract more and more vendors. And then gradually you can start increasing your commissions, but not from month 3 or month 4, but later on. So how can the unit economy impact the decision of which service to launch first? Well, to be honest, I may not have like direct answer to this question because again, quite many factors also depend on the partner itself and what kind of conditions the partner has from the beginning. If the partner, of course, for example, has the restaurants, for this part, it will be far easier to start with the food delivery and then maybe later on adopt the ride hailing because this partner already get his feet wet in this domain, and even calculating the unit economy will be easier because the partner may already work with Glovo, for example, right, or other competitors, and the partner is familiar with the structure of the charges. But overall, I would say that the unit economy may be scary, but only when you just look at this model, at this file, without any comments, without any contacts. Once you just start discussing what kind of structure you can have, once you start creating this income structure, cost structure on your own, you will see that it's not that scary, it's not that complicated. Yes, it's complex, but it's definitely manageable. So in the end, it's really up to partner to decide what to start first. I would say that perhaps maybe ride hailing from the unit economy perspective sound like a more safer option to start with, but I think it depends on what kind of case we have, what kind of partner we have, what kind of background we're dealing with. So yeah, that's I guess what I can comment on the unit economy aspect.
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, I think that up to this point of the conversation, I think we all could agree that there is no one true or really working way of launching a super app business. It all depends on the market, depends on the entrepreneur it is who is launching his business, and lots of other details that should be considered. So right now, the main goal of our conversation is to get this insight from you, from real operating experts, so that all newly launching super app entrepreneurs could get a full understanding of this business. And Lisaveta, maybe you could also cover the financial aspect of their starting ride-hailing business. Could you please do this for us?
Sure, most welcome. First of all, I agree with you, Alex, that indeed all the cases need to be handled separately, and there is no correct solution for everybody. Both ride-hailing and play food can be launched first, depending on the market, on the partner, and all other things. And I would say that I do not see some particular financial aspects that would keep the partner from launching play food or ride hailing. But I figured out, and I noted the list that the partners need to remember just when they are analyzing everything, even briefly, even without the unit economy and diving into the details, there are just some things not to forget, because at the end of the day, you will still face them. So those are the basic ones, are the cost for the apps, because obviously if you're choosing some platform, there will be some cost for the app, or any other setup fees like additional driver documents or the payment gateway that both Vera and Gedi already noted, because they maybe know in the particular location, or maybe there will be some additional customization requests if any of those requests are agreed for. So the initial setup will have some cost, and you need to estimate what it is about, depending on the model, on the location, etc. The second, and this is the notion, I guess, that I've been putting throughout all the speech of mine, is the budget for marketing. So you need to remember that you cannot just put an app in the store and the app will market yourself. So there needs to be some a marketing budget. When talking about the marketing budget, of course, and I have had these questions many times from many partners of ours, like, what budget should I use? Like, is this amount okay, or maybe I need to put some more investments here? What is fine, what is not fine? And here, yet again, I cannot give some certain number that, okay, invest, let's say, $5,000, $50,000, or some other amount, and everything will be fine with you. First of all, it's a never endless process, I would say, because if you get the initial users to the system, then your system would be growing, you would be having more drivers, so maybe you will need more users. So it's kind of step by step. You would have to invest into marketing again and again, maybe from different perspectives in different platforms. Maybe there will be organic traffic, or maybe the paid traffic, or something of that sort. But just remember that marketing will be with you if you want the business to be running well, so you need to have a budget for that. And by the way, when talking about the marketing, it's kind of straightforward to think that there needs to be the actual budget for the installs, that you give some money for the marketing, and that's it. There are also the expenses for the marketing agency work, for the discounts that you're offering to the passengers, because obviously it's kind of nice to give a discount, but at the end of the day it's your expense, so you are paying for that amount that the passenger haven't paid yourself. So you need to remember that all these perks are kind of your expenses when you're going to the market. The other moment is the budget for the cars or the driver payments. Why I'm putting it all together this way is because, for example, some partners prefer not to pay the driver the percentage from the order, but maybe paying a monthly or weekly salary, depending on the agreement with the driver and the placement of the service. So if that is the case for you, you need to remember that, okay, there needs to be some budget for that. And in terms of cars, sometimes it's a complicated question, but all partners handle it differently. If you are lucky and legally it's possible to allow the drivers with their own vehicles, all super cool. You just invite the drivers who have the vehicles and all good. But you may be required to actually buy the cars. Or maybe if you want some super cool, trendy service in some eco vertical, and you want some super cool eco cars, of course, if you want the coolness, you need to pay for the coolness. So you will definitely have to figure out how to buy the cars, where to get them, how to deliver them, all the things. This is not 100% necessary. This is just one of the options that you need to remember if that is a case for you. So you can also partner with some driver fleets, and if there is a fleet and they have the drivers and they have the cars, then maybe it's not that expensive, but not for everybody that is an option. And another thing, how to help our partners out here is maybe partnering with banks. There may be some leasing schedules for the cars if somebody is ready to support your project. So just discover all the options. I like the point of creativity that Vera noted, that creative minds search for solutions. So if you want to find a solution, you will find one. And just remember that this moment needs to be taken care of from the very beginning. You need to understand which way you would wish to prefer. Later on, we are moving to general salaries. Remember, I said that there is much efforts that is involved into the business, and if you are hiring some people, obviously you need to pay for these people, and this is a monthly expense if you are having those people working for your company on a monthly basis. You are paying them every month. So this is an expense that you need to be ready to handle, and you need to understand how much money is coming to the business, how much money you're spending, and all of that needs to be kind of somehow balancing for you to have the profit at the end of the day. And remember that when you have the employees, the more employees you have, the more the question of an office or a place where the employees are working may come into force. Because, okay, if you are the solo entrepreneur and you work for yourself, you are a man of all trades, and you are just trying to handle it all, okay, you may work from home if that works for you. But if you have, let's say, 20 operators, then several support agents, then the drivers who you need to train, and there needs to be some place where you train them. Maybe if that is an option for you, you have some activities for the brand awareness in town, and maybe you are inviting, the people to come to your office, or you are trying to make an image that you are located in the center of the town. You are so open. You are this personalized approach that everybody can see how you work. All that stuff that also costs money. So you need to be ready to cover all that if you choose that to be a business model. You may not. It's okay. You may just move online and that's it. But if you want to go for something of that sort, you need to be ready to pay for the office and all these employees. Later on, the small but not actually small things are most like taxes or transaction costs or any other costs that may come as unexpected, because especially if you're just starting the business, you haven't had any business previously, you may think that, okay, the drivers, the passengers understood, but there is this legal side that you need to pay to the government. There are some taxes. There are surely some transaction costs with the banks, some fees the banks may want to take for the transactions, and then there are different percentages or fixed rates for different type of transactions, and you need to get down into all of that to understand whether it's even profitable for you to be providing maybe payments with cards. Or maybe, okay, let's leave the cards, it's too expensive because the banks are charging too much. Maybe let's stay on cash or mobile money or something of that sort. So all of that things also need to be taken in account, not to have any false expectations that you will just get your income and you will be happily, sharing it and enjoy your life. No, everything needs to balance all at once. And of course, the thing that you cannot predict, but I would still note here, is that it would be super cool for you to understand that force majeures may happen. You cannot predict everything, and something just happens because it's life. So you need to take it as just a moment of life. It just happens. So you need to handle whatever it takes. And preferably, it would be super cool if you had money for that. Because if any issue can be solved by money, then it's a very good issue. Nobody died, nobody is involved, injured or something of that sort. If you can pay money, it would be good to pay money. So just in case, if you have some budget, if there is a possibility for you to have some budget for any force majeures, please remember, just put some amount aside for any legal procedures, any anything that might happen with cars, or by the way, cars, yeah, if you have your fleet and decided to go for that, then you would have to do some repairs, because the cars are being used every day, especially if the service is a popular one. Surely those are the expenses that you would have to cover. So yeah, that's the things that I decided to come up with, because honestly, I think Vera knows much more about unit economy, and definitely there are so many factors that you need to take into account about the revenue that you have, the expenses that you need to cater for, and you need to remember that you actually need to have the profit out of all of that. So nobody is going to work for free, and also the business owner also doesn't want to work for free. So all of that needs to balance.
Yeah, thank you. We are exchanging information, exchanging our experience, and let's ask Gedi, what was your start unit economy for the start, and how has it changed for the time, as you are operating for 10 years already, and maybe how was structured your expenses for operational expenses, marketing budget, etc. Tell us more about this, please.
Okay, so when it comes to finance, I think I will divide it into three phases. The first one is the initial investment phase, where you set up your business, your shop, and you size it based on your projection, right? So how far you want to go big and everything, that's where the investment projection comes, and that's where the investment that you accumulate at the beginning works. So once you get your investment, your projection, and your everything, there is the operational phase where you start growing to be profitable, right? So that's the second phase that I think it is. And during that phase, I have learned, because right now we have a CFO level in our company, right? So at the beginning it was two entrepreneurs, and then there's an accountant, and there's junior accountant. Now we are in a CFO level, right? So the first thing that the CFO did is when doing the budget is he asked us what is our product in the super app. What's your product? And we said we give technology service. They said, what do you mean technology service? So go in and tell me what it is. So now we started thinking, and we said, oh, okay, so Ride Midsize is one of my products. Ride Quick is my product. Ride Rent is my product. Ride EV is my product. Right? Even when you go into the food, restaurant X is my product now. Even within that product, because if you don't treat every single one of the tabs that you add in that application, if you don't treat it as an individual entity where it requires team to develop, sales budgeting, marketing budgeting, you have to fulfill that, right? You have to go into the restaurant and assess, if they can deliver this or not. You might have to have additional person in the restaurant to fulfill your order. So every single one of the things that you add in there, this is what I learned. It's not just a button in the application. It is people and process at the back of this whole show. So you have to understand during that operational phase, you have to develop them separately, because otherwise you will not measure it. Otherwise you will not know if you're growing or not. Otherwise you will not know if one is chewing the profit of the other tab that you added over there. So the first phase that you have to get into is create simple standard service. When we started it, we started just Ride Quick, right at the beginning. So that one standard service gave us to drive, the demand, right? And the money that we have spent in the marketing, believe me, don't get carried, just balance it. Like Lisa said earlier, otherwise you'll be too much talking and not streamlining the work, right? So you have to learn, if there are, as you are promoting, you have to also listen whether you're delivering or not. So when you start seeing hiccup in your operation, you have to fix it. You have to make adjustments before you burn more cash on the marketing side. Otherwise, you'll be disappointing so many people, and that will catch up eventually, right? And after that, you'll be hiring a PR to clean your mess in the past, which we have done, and we're still doing it right now. So, some customers that appeared like 6 years ago, they tell us the old story. We're like, whoa, okay, this is not right, right? You have to go back and change that positioning again, brand positioning again. So you have to, see the balance between how much money you're spending. That's the formula. How much money you're spending, and when that customer comes in, are you delivering it the right way, right? So those things you have to fulfill and you have to go forward. And when you're doing this, the way you can do your P&L eventually, your profit and loss, is by understanding that every tab you add in there, or every service tab you add in there, is money that has to be budgeted. That is something that has to grow on its own, and make sure that that is successful on its own stream, right? So this is something that we have learned, and this is something that we corrected. At some point, we had so many service types on our platform, but then eventually we learned, oh, okay, then we need to minimize it to the level where we can grow them one by one, right? And some of the service types, when you do surveys, you add it, you're thinking, there might be customer on it, but then eventually when you look at it, it's either underfunded, or there's no customer base, or there are many issues that you have to solve before you get to that level, right? So this is the thing that you have to always consider. And then the third one is, like I said earlier, you have to keep on investing and growing, diversifying. Otherwise, once you prove the market, you're telling to the guy upstairs, with lots of money and lots of experience and lots of, launching in many countries, you're giving them the idea that it's proven market. So before they come in and they play around they play around the pricing model and they play you out, you have to figure it out. You have to diversify. You have to be, rooted into the ecosystem that you created, so that when they go X, you have to go Y to counter it, right? So this is the third phase where investment has to come in. More strategic thinking has to come in the third level, right? The second one is operational mindset, and it's about delivering. Sometimes you be carried away to see 20, 30,000 trips a day, but then you're at a loss when you see the bottom line, right? So always be mindful, always understand at a granular level, and always make sure that when you do something in there, it has to be mindfully, right? It shouldn't be you waking up. Sometimes there were times that I wake up and say, hey, this is a very nice idea, let's go for it, right? Now, you have to think. You have to start thinking, because at the end of the day, what matters is every stream that you have to, every energy and time that you have to invest in, it has to grow in a measurable way. So this is my thought on finance.
We are coming up to the last part of the conversation, as a last question, I wanted to ask you about key takeaway or piece of advice that you would say to the newly launching super app businesses and its entrepreneurs. But right now, I understand that each piece of your answer, each piece of your speech is the huge inspiration, or one huge key takeaway that should be just divided into steps and taken into consideration. So thank you, Vera, Lizaveta, and Gedi for your time, sharing your experience and giving us such valuable insights. I believe that this podcast will be a great source of support and knowledge for many entrepreneurs all over the world. Thank you very much for your time, for this conversation, and we'll see you at the ongoing work meetings. And our dear listeners, thank you for your attention and energy that was felt through the internet connection. The podcast will be available on our YouTube channel, so you will be able to re-listen it and share it with your business partners. So I wish you all the best and see you soon on the next podcasts. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you so much, Gedi. Thank you so much, Lizaveta. It was great seeing you all today.
Nice talking to you guys. Yeah, have a wonderful day. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.